Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Bryan Hallman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Bryan Hallman, and today we're at the 2016 Kansas Soybean Expo here in Topeka. As always, in Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our different segments today, we'll sit down and talk with various soybean producers and industry leaders participating in this year's Soybean Expo to get their perspective on the past, present, and future of soybeans in the state of Kansas. It's going to be a great show. Please stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. It's still early, but USDA Chief Economist Rob Johansson thinks we'll see more corn and less soybeans planted in 2016. We expect to see fewer acres being planted to soybeans in 2016. Right now, we're estimating that could be about 82 million acres going into soybeans, about 1 million lower than it was last year. Johansson goes on to say, on the other hand, we would expect producers to plant roughly 90 million acres of corn next year, about 2 million more than we saw planted this year. Johansson predicts total wheat acreage will fall again in 2016 by as much as 1.5 million acres. Grocery retailer Costco says it plans to offer only cage-free eggs in the future, becoming the first major grocery chain to make the commitment. But the company stopped short of setting a definite timeline for reaching that goal. In a statement, Costco says that the transition will take some time because over 90% of the supply of eggs still come from caged hens. Costco is reportedly the second largest retailer in the world after Walmart and the largest membership warehouse club chain in the U.S. U.S. grain shipments are being hampered by flooding along the Mississippi River at a critical time. 80% of U.S. soybeans are shipped from September through February, and Mike Stenhook, director of Soy Transportation Coalition, stated that a 5-mile stretch of the river near St. Louis is closed, and even if it reopens soon, there will still be issues. Nearly 60% of all U.S. soybeans and nearly 70% of U.S. corn are typically shipped through the Mississippi Gulf each year. And in local news, the Kansas Department of Agriculture will host 6 regional agribusiness development workshops in 2016. The workshops will provide Kansas farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses with resources and business development contacts to assist with startups or expansions. Agriculture accounts for 43% of the state's economy and 12% of the state's workforce. These workshops will create an environment that facilitates growth and awareness about agricultural opportunities in Kansas. For more information, go to kda.gov. A Kansas Attorney General, Derek Schmidt, asked the U.S. Supreme Court to review a lower court decision regarding the EPA's efforts to dictate how states regulate runoff from such sources as farmland, construction sites, and urban areas. Schmidt led a bipartisan group of 22 state attorney generals in asking the court to take up the case after the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit upheld the EPA's efforts to impose runoff limits on states in the Chesapeake Bay region. Missouri, Colorado, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Texas were among the states that joined the Kansas-led brief. KDA is calling on industry partners to help identify workforce needs among agricultural employees in the state by conducting the Kansas Agricultural Workforce Needs Assessment survey. Kansas agribusiness manufacturers and producers of agricultural products are being asked to complete the survey to help KDA identify the number and types of jobs and specific skills required for those jobs in agriculture. For more information or to take the survey online, go to agriculture.ks.gov/workforce. Again, we're at the 2016 Kansas Soybean Expo here in Topeka. Stay tuned this morning because we've got a lot of great information coming up that we know you'll enjoy. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com.
A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in Southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
Dick Edwards, 2 miles east of the town center mall on Highway 24.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Poe, here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Dick Edwards, 2 miles east of the town center mall on Highway 24.
Thanks for staying with us this morning. We're at the 2016 Kansas Soybean Expo here in Topeka, and we're joined by James Garris. James, thanks for joining us. You were the keynote this morning, so kind of big shoes to fill. You had a packed room this morning, so climatologist, historical climatologist.
Indeed.
Let's just kind of jump into this. Weather affects everything. Weather certainly is affecting price when it comes to commodities, soybean being one of those commodities.
That is true. One of the big reasons for this is we have an oceanic oscillation called the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, which in 2005 it went from being warm to being cold. And so it's changed the precipitation that is around the United States. It's changed where it's easier or harder to grow. And it takes us a while to get used to that. And to add to that, we've had El Niños and La Niñas, several over the past 10 years, that spike or drop the prices. When we've had La Niñas, the prices have spiked. When we've had El Niños, the prices have dropped. And we're going to continue seeing those spikes at least for another 5 years before agriculture finally starts getting used to the new precipitation patterns from the Pacific.
And when we talk about precipitation patterns, California being one of those that actually has no precipitation.
Unfortunately, no. The cold Pacific, and unfortunately they have about 15 more years, but the cold Pacific means that California gets very little rainfall and it's not very dependable. Now they've been getting, and it's been making national headlines, a lot of rain and some snowpack, and that's because of the El Nino. The warm water from the El Nino is bringing much needed rainfall to California. Now, it's going to be good, it's going to make for a good agricultural season next year, but it's not going to end the drought unless it breaks records throughout the entirety of winter and spring, which is not terribly likely. But they are getting rainfall, but when the El Nino ends, there's a good chance that they're going to be going back to those dry and less precipitatious conditions based on the Pacific.
Well, you look at the Midwest, Kansas being smack dab in the middle of the U.S. We've struggled. We had a drought 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This year we had a very wet summer, which is very rare for us here in the state. Again, those patterns are going to affect us long term. You said 12 years for California. Are we in a 12-year term also?
The Kansas as well. Kansas is affected not only by the Pacific, but also by the Atlantic, AMO, Atlantic Multidecadal Oscillation. And the way that those are working, one being cold and the Atlantic being hot, it means that Kansas is smack dab in the middle of being affected by both of them, and it means shorter climate conditions, El Niños and La Niñas, can shift whether or not you get precipitation. This upcoming La Niña could be a good chance that the precipitation will not be available when the La Niña hits. But because of that, it is another 15 years before the AMO and the PDO switch. But then you're going to have weather conditions more akin to the 1980s and early 1990s. So if that was good in that time, which I believe it was much better at that point, that means good news. It's just a while away.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish speaking with James. You're watching kansasAGreport. See you in just a minute. Thanks for staying with us. We're at the 2016 Kansas Soybean Expo here in Topeka, and we're joined by James Garris. Again, thank you for staying with us. Climatologist, historical climatologist, I think I got that right.
Yep.
I get to talk to a lot of very interesting people with my job, and you're my first historical climatologist. So anyways, let's jump into this. Seed manufacturers, research being done at university levels are all based on drought-tolerant crops. Now, if you think about it, what impact does your research have when it comes to working with seed companies?
Well, we do consult with a lot of different seed companies for a variety of reasons, both short and long term. And in a lot of the consulting, the interest is how long is this drought likely to last, as well as why is it happening? Mm-hmm. And once again, because of the current oceanic conditions that we have, the PDO and the AMO, it's shifting where jet streams move and it's shifting where precipitation falls. And so because of that, in the U.S., we have had for the last 10 to 15 years, and we'll continue to have for another 10 to 15 years, a lot more drought-like conditions. But the good news for this is that it means that when we can start developing these drought-resistant crops, we not only have the ability to make them resist better drought, but we know where we are going to have to utilize them the most. And so when we know where precipitation, that's another thing we're asked about, is where the rain is going to come, we can start utilizing where we send it, where we keep it, where we outsource it to other areas that might need just a little bit more rainfall. And that's going to overall make for a much easier time in growing crops over the next 10 to 15 years.
And when we look at regionally, the South, Florida, that area has had a ton of rain the past couple of years. On the West Coast, like you said, California is struggling. You look at dairies and things like that, the impact that not having rain or even cold temperatures may have long term.
Indeed.
Thanks for staying with us. We continue at the 2016 Kansas Soybean Expo here in Topeka, and we're joined by Teresa. Thanks for joining us. Teresa is the one who, behind the scenes, made sure that everything happened, make sure I had this room to do the interviews and all that other stuff. A lot goes into an event like this. 35 years, I think.
This is our 35th Kansas Soybean Expo. Really, really excited about that. It's hard to keep anything going that long, and so we're really proud of the quality of Expo that we put on, and also the longevity. And the people that keep coming back year after year really say that we're doing something good here.
Well, not only that, but you look at the list of people that you had speaking this year and some of the things that you guys talk about. Climate. We talked to the climatologist today. It's
right.
You don't typically see that at a conference like this.
No, and that's our big goal, is making sure that farmers have the information that they need to be successful. That's why we know when these folks have to take a day away from their farm, we want it to be worthwhile. And so she gave us some really good information looking into the future, this next year, this next 5-10 years, what we can maybe be expecting from Mother Nature.
Well, and not only that, you look at long term, there's a marketing class. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into preparing guys each year to grow and market their soybeans.
Right. We all know that we have seen a drastic difference in price over the last few years, and we've got to be prepared for that as producers. And so we heard from an extension a specialist today who talked about how we fertilize for $8 soybeans, and we hear research every year. And we're also getting a marketing session right now about puts and calls and how to best make the best use of the crop that you do get, regardless of weather and yields and all of those things. So really great information to keep guys farming for the next year.
Well, not only that, but you have some people come in from the U.S. Meat Federation, talk about what's going on outside the U.S. and the role that Kansas soybeans play outside the U.S.
Exactly. We're fortunate with the Kansas Soybean Association that we have a good working relationship with the Kansas Soybean Commission, and all of the people that they have a working relationship with. We get to hear from those folks and hear what's going on in other parts of the world, where we're expanding markets for U.S. soy. That's so important because we can grow it, but we've got to have a place to send it.
And not only that, I think I heard every other row goes outside the U.S.
Yeah, we're exporting a lot of soybeans, a lot of soybean meal. It's really important to the world market that Kansas and the United States is a good source of soybeans.
And not only that, but you talk about some of the other things you guys talk about. You've got a little area where people can talk about some of the research going on at K-State and things that you guys fund. And
yeah.
I want to take a quick break, if that's okay.
Perfect.
So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about maybe some of the research going on at Kansas State University and some of the other things that producers had a chance to see and do today. You watch the Kansas Ag Report.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Impact Satellite, your local authorized DirecTV dealer. Impact Satellite at 785-554-5974.
All the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this? Yes, we can. But we'd prefer to give you the straight call, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You hear it all the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this? Yes, we can. But we'd prefer to give you the straight talk, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Thanks for staying with us. We're at the 2016 Kansas Soybean Expo, and we're going to finish up here. And some of the things that the association does, commission does is fund some of the research at Kansas State University. And producers today had a chance to kind of walk through and see some of the research that's been funded.
Yeah, actually, those checkoff dollars that every soybean producer pays goes to fund the commission, and then the commission funds research, not just at K-State, but at Pitt State and all over the place that really is leading to the forefront of research in soybeans. And so today we had several of those researchers here sharing what they've learned and kind of showing producers what those checkoff dollars fund. Our checkoff board, the commission board, does a great job of being fiscally responsible and really making sure that we get the most bang for those checkoff dollars.
Well, not only that, but those dollars also go to helping people as far as the contest goes. The soy contest, the statewide contest, had a bunch of winners today, gave away, I think someone won $1,000, I think is what you said.
We had the results of the yield contest today. That's partially sponsored by the Kansas Soybean Commission, as well as we've had some other sponsors for that. But the overall yield winner gets $1,000. And there were other cash prizes involved, and so we're really grateful to the commission for supporting that. And it's important. Yield is important. We're farmers. That's how we make money, is to have a good crop, and so we like to continue to encourage farmers to increase yields every year.
Well, not only that, there was enough winners. I actually made the comment that if I just grew a soybean in my backyard, there was a chance I might win an award. So there was a lot of winners.
There are 8 districts. Obviously, we can't compare every district to another. Right. So, we divide them up, and everybody gets a fair chance to play. Yeah. It's really nice.
I mean, just a bunch of people. Someone wants to go to the website and kind of see who the winners were. Where are we going?
Yeah, Kansas, the Kansas Soybean Association, kssoybeans.org.
Okay, and other information on there? I know Charlene Patton. There's some information that Charlene Patton has on there, her cooking.
She always has great recipes for us, and that's really the hub of information for the Kansas Soybean Association and Commission. You can find the directors on there. You can find any information about Expo. All of that information is available on our website.
Are we planning 2017 already?
We will start tomorrow.
Oh my gosh! No rest for the winter.
Maybe I will. This is my favorite day. So perfect. Thanks so much.
You're watching Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you in just a minute.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Well, that's our show for today from the 2016 Kansas Soybean Expo. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Bryan Hallman, and thanks for watching.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.